They're just robots. It's only her mind that's, well, her abilities that are implanted. Come on, dude. It's gonna murder you. Hello, boy. Hello guys, and welcome back to some more Atomic Heart. We'll be walking around this place until we take our leave, I guess. Oh, this is your place. That's what's going on here. Didn't actually know this was all hers. You also have the toilet and everything? I don't actually know. Oh well.
Come on, Sergey. Vengeance awaits.
Don't rush me. One thing at a time.
I would prefer that we reach Sechenov before Collective is updated and it is too late to change anything, in case you don't like his answers.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I'm guessing all the robots also went insane here. Hello there, wife and ballerina buddy. Aren't you very murderous? The twin's energy, just like you, the twin has the ability to stop energy and it has attacks. Wait, attack it to take out sort of energy and weaken your foe special.
Is that
okay.
left or right? Same difference.
You have no idea how right you are.
Well, aren't you very elegant?
What are you looking at, Major? Fight!
What do you mean? I'm fighting her. There's only one of them,
Stay
too.
alert. This lady has no desire to dance with you.
I mean, she is dancing with me, technically, if you want to go with the ballerina moves.
Latest robotics technology, and for what? To kill. How disgraceful.
Yeah, you don't say.
The twin is using everything she has to kill you. Use
I mean, she's
everything
not
you
that
have.
strong. I'm not gonna use everything I have. She's not even that strong. I don't think I have a lot of healing items in all technicality.
Imagine if there were two of them.
There are two of them. They're more like a spider than a ballerina. You're telling me this freaking guy's wife could move like that, or is it just enhanced because she's a robot?
Upstairs.
Left? Wait, they have like direction names? Obviously, it's defeat a twin. Where are you now? Okay. What do you want me to do with that? Okay, I'll steal your mind now, I think. They're just robots. It's only her mind that's, well, her abilities that are implanted. Come on, dude. It's gonna murder you. Hello, boy. Okay, well, they got past in any case, so, great, isn't it? Oh, well, you remember this elevator, right? It's quite long.
Approved by the Secret Congress of the CPSU Central Committee on February 14, 1951. The goal is the suppression of the United States of America, change of political regime, abolition of capitalism, establishment of communism, establishing social and moral ideals consistent with the beliefs of a Soviet person. The method of execution is the seizure of the strategic and military facilities, followed by disconnection and shutdown of nuclear power plants. Effective deactivation of the atomic heart of America, complete surrender of the government, and the transfer of power to the top leadership of the USSR.
That's pretty
So
sketchy.
how are they gonna pull that off?
Well, Sergei, first they sell robots, then they simply give them away as aid. Once they reach critical mass, they take over all the power plants and cut off the power.
Okay, what is this all about? The Atomic Heart Project, welcome comrades. The first clan's unity for all seems incredibly noble, but then they screw it over and then everyone gets... Okay, in just 2 months the new progressive human race is towards capitalism. Okay, so they're gonna take over America is what they're gonna do. Okay. That sounds like a lot of fun. Sure.
At full speed, the GMC 69 geodesic monocycle's wheel can slice a man's body in half. Its standard loadout includes a 7.62mm machine gun that can be replaced with a flamethrower or laser gun.
I still don't
Jesus.
get how we can control machines in America from the Soviet Union. It's not like hacking a hub in the facility.
Comrade Major, the polymers have the ability to transmit information among themselves without need for radio frequencies. No other transmitters are required, since the neuropolymer is itself a transmitter. Collective 2.0 will work the same way, but with the brains of ordinary users. An enormous social distance would be required to avoid control, but any undesirable outcasts will be caught by the robots.
Okay.
This robot's extremities are made out of PTA-4 for improved human spine-breaking performance.
You have the real reason why all of these robots are made the way they are.
The NAT-256 Natasha heavy-duty ground-based loader bot can squeeze up to 5 liters of blood from a human body in under 20 seconds.
I bet it'll be like how people control these monsters with that fucking gizmo there. The thought controller.
As I said earlier, thought is nothing but a trinket, a fake. The primary connector is the Jellyman, the neuropolymer, and only Sechenov has access to it. Only the Jellyman, the massive data array, can resonate with all polymerized objects and control them. And believe me, Comrade Major, a tremendous amount of polymer has been spread throughout the world over the last few years. Every machine and every human being on Earth will become part of Collective.
Oh, okay. Not very good.
As a mobile healthcare unit, the doc cannot replace a medic or paramedic, but it is quite adept at performing autopsies, especially if the patient is still alive.
Very funny. Ah, okay. Alright, we're getting into that area, are we?
It has a silent mode for infiltrating enemy lines and gathering intelligence.
Oh, and here we have this weird thing.
Acting as an exoskeleton for a pluche-based neuropolymer creature, the Dewdrop is a highly capable combat unit whose laser beam's penetration rate for human flesh is a staggering 0.15 seconds.
So, to make a long story short, Sechenov is in charge of this polymer thingy, this Jellyman, and the Jellyman is gonna be in charge of everything that becomes part of the network.
Indeed.
Sounds like frickin' black magic or something.
The polymers have not been fully studied, nor has Collective. It is entirely possible that humans have created something greater than themselves. In fact, the electronic messages you have been reading at the pair terminals may very well have been specially selected for you by the neural network, or even created. We simply don't know, Major.
I don't like the sound of that.
It's no worse than a single man's drive to control more lives than just his own.
They're saying the network has a life of its
The
own.
hauler is capable of detaining intruders with a special clamp. It is programmed to keep the subject pinned to the ground while awaiting a human rapid response team, or terminate it if none is coming.
Otherwise, like all of them have like armed statements. It's like they can help, but
The ideal anti-personnel operator, programmed with advanced melee techniques, prioritizing breaking victims' necks to ensure zero survivability.
That makes sense, because a lot of the people we have encountered, all of their necks were broken. Especially the first one who died, according to what I remember. He was like, it snapped my neck and then I died.
A light reconnaissance drone. A group of owls can lift an enemy off the ground and drop it from a lethal height.
Listen, this is fucking bonkers. Sechenov wants to take over the world and blow up America.
Not blow it up, just deprive it of electricity.
That's why he shuts them down and doesn't
If you
explode
still have
them.
doubts after the academy, what I've told you, and everything you've seen around you, let's just do what we came here to do. Look your former boss in the eye and ask him.
Okay, what about this one?
68 laborer is heavily represented among the robotic staff of prisons, where it carries out patrol duties.
Oh, that's like the most normal thing so far. I guess it catches people, it's gonna saw them.
Designed as a freight drone, the Drofa also doubles as a punitive expedition unit. Its unique Archimedes screw rotors can chop a human body into bits as efficiently as an industrial-grade meat grinder.
Oh, that's comforting. Okay, how nice. Mr. Sechenov, sir, would you perhaps not try to murder me now? You just shoot him right now and maybe you'll hit. I mean, I'm guessing the ballerinas will get in the way, but still.
Boss?
Protect. Well, Cheriton, are you proud of yourself? You, Larissa, and Zenaida have certainly been busy. But Sergei, I wouldn't have expected you to be quite so gullible, my boy.
Silence! You messed with my head. You wiped my memory. Am I a toy to you like those other people connected to Collective? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Calm down, Sergei. I can see you're terribly upset. It's okay, I don't blame you. But you, Cheriton, you were supposed to help the boy, not pull his strings like a puppet.
Me? Don't you blame this on me? I'm not the one trying to deprive everyone of their free will, turning them into mindless puppets. And it wasn't my choice to be a talking pile of goo either. You're glad it happened, aren't you? You'll use everything and everyone to achieve your goal, including me and your agent. Admit it!
How dare you? I lost you both, then saved your lives. You're both scientific miracles. You are my best friend, Cheriton. And the Major is like a son to me.
And those two are like daughters, right? And everyone you're going to connect to Collective, everyone whose minds you're going to control, who are they to you? Millions of foster kids? Everyone is just grist for your mill, Dimitri.
I want to give mankind a spectacular future. Unimaginable achievements. I want to give them a path to the stars.
Both of you, shut up! Get your hands up! Some goddamn wizard you are. Tell him to stand down. I'm counting to 3. 1!
What a shame.
2!
It's a shame you've escalated this situation without even trying to resolve it peacefully. But I won't let you stand in the way of progress. Right, left, terminate.
So now I have to fight both of them? Well, one should already be damaged, right? Right? Oh god, ow. I did not expect prompts to be given right now. How is he stronger than a robot? Oh Jesus, maybe he's not. They're very slow at killing me. Not very efficient robots, are they?
What in the actual living fuck is this?
Stop blaming the machines, Major.
Freaking fucking critters! These are cold hard facts, Bullet!
This is all you got?
That's exactly what I want to correct. You just walked into my office with a look.
Stop messing with my head! So one of these robots is Ekaterina Nechaeva, the wife I don't remember? Well, which one?
They both are.
I tried to bring Glesna back to life when her brain was literally ripped in half. I wanted to restore her right and left hemispheres, but the process was too complicated.
What the shit? But why? You're already fucking with people who are still alive. Couldn't you just leave the dead in peace?
Like I could not, indeed. Oh god.
Which of my other memories have you wiped, boss? And how many times?
You couldn't accept her death, and I couldn't save her. I had to do it, or you...
That's enough, boss. I'm willing to believe that you were acting in my best interests. But why couldn't you just tell me?
I'm sorry, Sergei. I wasn't sure what to do.
Right now, the right thing is to call off the twins and just talk to me.
Forgive me, but right now they're fighting Cheriton, not you.
God, how are you still alive? Fine, I'm not playing around anymore. Or maybe I am.
Can we just stop fighting?
Get rid of Cheriton. Take off the glove.
Okay, fine. First call off my wife.
Major, wake up.
Katya.
Oh boy.
Your wife is dead. Sechenov took her from you.
I don't know if they have any weakness, but I'm willing to try out more freezing. Maybe they can slow down their movements and nothing else.
Beat Cheriton before anyone else gets hurt.
Dimitri is suggesting that I'll be hurt. You will be next, Major.
Will you really kill your own... Sergei!
What do you mean? You already killed her. Like, it's not even her. Even kind of proved that her thought is dead. Oh, Jesus. How am I supposed to survive this? Are we gonna, like, be done? Are you gonna keep doing this? Oh, okay, I don't have to shoot them. Oh no, I have no more health. What? But I don't see the twin stuff anymore. What's happening here? I call BS. I don't see a health bar anymore. Okay, there we go. What did they just do?
You lousy
Sergei,
piece
you don't
of
understand.
shit.
Cheriton's manipulating you. He gained access to the Voskhod module in your brain and started sending you to Limbo. I was busy getting ready for the collective update, so I didn't realize it right away. He's the one who killed Molotov. Tell me, Cheriton, did you do the same thing to Dr. Filatova? Did you use my agent to tear her limb from limb?
I'm sick of your hypocrisy, Dmitri. I did your dirty work while you stayed squeaky clean.
But they didn't deserve to die. Why have you done this?
You motherfucker this whole time.
I've had quite enough of you, Major. Your job is done.
P3, my boy. Get up! Get up! What do you want?
I want all this to end, Dmitri. I want your pathetic human race to realize it has no future. It's time for it to step aside and make way for the next phase of its evolution.
Well, well, well.
Me.
Is that what happened to him? He turned into that thing?
Sheridan, you're pure evil. What are you going to do to humanity and collective?
You should not call something evil just because you cannot comprehend it. Evil is an abstract concept, and your thinking is limited. You are a human, a species that will soon be extinct. I realized when I stopped being human myself. Your limitations prevent you from seeing the truth. Dumb humans don't want to evolve. All they want is comfort and satisfaction on someone else's dime.
You never wanted to join with the massive array. No. Stop, Sheridan. No.
I changed my mind.
The Argentum unit entered Dr. Sechenov's office and found no trace of the doctor. According to partially reconstructed footage, it appears the humanoid neuropolymer object approached Dr. Sechenov's body and then completely consumed it. After the events described in the report, the unidentified humanoid neuropolymer object left Dr. Sechenov's office and vanished.
Okay, so is that a bad ending disguised as a good one?
P2, P3. Your mind is never free.
Dumb, crispy critters!
The two rings. I love how my cursor is there, my crosshair.
If you leave me here to cry.
Okay, interesting. I suppose that's the ending. I'm gonna turn the volume down for me. I don't know how loud it's gonna be for you guys. I'll have to see after I upload the video. If I'm gonna have to make it lower. So I don't know how the other ending would be, but it seems like it was a choice between two evils. Either collective would become mind controlled, or it would become or they would get a new danger that could wipe out humans. But this at least delays the mind control thing, I suppose. For some reason, he left the dude alive too. It's interesting. Although it's very abrupt and it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger, which is a bit sad. I don't really like it when games do this because they're not a television series. But despite that, it was an enjoyable ride. So what I will do is after the whole no, never mind. I'll do it right now. So I'll put a graph on the screen right now, and then we'll write boom, bow. There it is. Okay. So what I will do is I'll talk about the different points that I'm going to focus on. I'll talk about some. Sorry, it's very late at night for me, so I kind of have to think a bit before I talk. So first off, story. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the different. How do you say it? Strengths and weaknesses of the game. We're gonna start with the story. The story is very interesting. The story kind of carries this game majorly. It's a very unique story. A lot of games that kind of expand into what-if scenarios in the world, and those games actually tend to be pretty big all the time because they're new ideas, they are creative. So this game has a pretty decent story. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth with it. All I need to say is that it is a pretty decent story. It's not, it's not the best story ever told, but it's not even the worst story ever told. It's kind of just, it really fits the game very well, and I don't know if they could do it in a more, I know they can do it in a more expanded way, but I don't know how they could explain it with more context than they already did. Like I said, I already figured everything out pretty much halfway through the game, or at least as soon as we went into the theater, I've kind of already figured out the plot for the most part. And so if you look around, you will figure out the plot. Otherwise, I imagine if you didn't read terminals and everything, you might only get the plot later on. But anyway, story-wise, it did pretty well. It was pretty average. It really fit the game. They could have done more with it, but it's not that bad. Now, if we're gonna talk about the... what are you gonna call it? The characters. It certainly leaves a lot to be desired there. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? From the standpoint of like the main character, all of his decisions, like he was mind controlled, he looked very positively as Sechenov, but even if it was my best friend and there was all this proof that something was certainly going on, I would definitely kind of act on it. Just saying, I would not be like, no, there's no way I could do this, no. Even after all that's happened, even after the bad guys could have killed him, he still went after them and still believes Sechenov. And to me, that just doesn't make sense. Like, he's pretty stupid when it comes to main characters. Maybe he was made that way, that can be argued, of course, but his character itself is still nothing too special. So I didn't really enjoy the main character's personality. Now, the hand personality on the other side, the Charles or Chariton or whatever his name is now in the game now, his personality was kind of interesting. It was very unique too. Very unique personality and interesting character. And the way he kept poking at you was very psychological, and I actually really liked that. The written dialogue for him is also kind of good. Like my favorite character is the hand in this, and that's kind of interesting considering that you play as the other guy who has the hand on him. But the hand has a very unique personality, and that personality shined throughout the whole game until the end, where honestly he doesn't really make any sense, but there's that, I suppose. If we're gonna go ahead and talk about the level design and the environment, then we're gonna have to bring up the fact that the game seems a bit conflicted as to what it actually is, and it doesn't know whether it wants to be a semi-open world game, or rather an open world game, or it wants to be some kind of interior game. So it kind of went half and half on both. It's so you can travel to different locations of the world map. You can loot on the way, right? But when you get to the facility, you have maybe some fights outside, some things you have to take care of, and then right back down again. So when it comes to those things, it is a bit confusing what it is trying to be. Ultimately, it kind of finds a pretty okay medium grind. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing crazy, but overall it does make sense with what it tried to achieve, and it really did do it in a way that, like, it kind of fit together, but pretty loosely, you know. Because the beginning I actually really enjoyed. Again, I'm the kind of person that enjoys being led by the story to different places. And as soon as I reached the open world game, I was like, wait, what? and I just got so confused because I was so used to the more linear, like small area open world kind of thing they did there. I don't know if I can call that open world, but like it's a small area that's designed very cleverly and cool. And then we went into the actual open world they present you with. And all of a sudden now you have this whole area map to explore. And it was a little bit overwhelming at first. I didn't really know what to do with it. I didn't know if it was like fully open world or if I would miss something if I went to the next area. So it really confused me as soon as they went open world there. It really, really confused me. I don't know how else to say it. It very much confused me. But as soon as we went to the interiors, I really enjoyed the level design. I think it was pretty smart to have everything be connected in a certain way. And don't get me wrong, specific areas outside also felt like it was filled with content. But it suffers from the thing all open world games do, where you have a certain area that has a lot of content, and then you go from to another area, and in between those two areas there's not a lot of stuff. But funny enough, when you cross the bridge, there seems to be a lot of things around, like over on the edge there. Not really across the bridge, but like right before you cross the bridge, where I went into the second last facility in the game, or the testing ground or whatever it's called. Right there was a lot of cool stuff. And I very much enjoyed that. It was interesting to see how they kind of filled that whole area up with content. And I will say that definitely did it better than a lot of other things. Oh, production babies. Love of the crosshairs there, by the way. But yeah, I really enjoyed the areas they really made when they actually did make them. They didn't have as many problems as other open world games do, because their open world is kind of small. So they have less empty areas and more filled areas, and I think that really benefited this game in the way they did it. Because it relies heavily on the satisfying part of the game, which is looting. So you can go around and loot areas, and then you can feel like you got rewarded as soon as you found something, which makes you want to explore more and loot more. Especially since it's not that big, right? So I think they succeeded in the aspect of just making it enjoyable to explore and stuff like that in the environment. It was really fun. I had fun exploring, especially the cool, different, small designed elements where you can kind of see environmental storytelling. Very nicely done. So even though they went somewhat open world, or open world in the end, or whatever you want to call it at this point, I don't even know. I don't even know whether I would describe this game as a linear game or if it's an open world game at this point. Technically both are wrong, so... I mean, it is linear, okay, but it's also open world, but only a part of the game is open world. So, and I don't think one is like more than the other. Maybe the interiors have a little bit more screen time than the open world, but then the open world also has a lot to explore, so you know, it kind of 50-50 is out there. But I kind of wish they had stuck to what they did in the beginning when you went onto the train, or right before you went onto the train, with like the areas being sort of closed off and you can explore those. I don't know, something about that just had a certain charm that they lost as soon as they went to the open world. That's just me though, that's just how I experienced it. Now, if we are gonna talk about the actual graphics, we need to talk about performance first. Now, this game compiles shaders when you first launch it, and that lags for a little bit, and then you can go into the game, which is a lot of how normal new games are made. I wish that wasn't a thing, but if you want to push graphic boundaries nowadays, you're gonna have to do that, and I can accept it. This game is made in Unreal Engine 4, I'm pretty sure, and when you play the game, you can kind of tell. Because it has small stutters every now and again, at least it did for me. That could be due to the fact that sometimes it doesn't compile shaders, which is, you know, what I'm talking about in the beginning of the game. And then when I'm in the game, it loads things that it should have loaded before with the shader stuff. And especially when it loads new areas, it also kind of lags me. So it's not a lag-free game. Otherwise, I would say it performs rather well. It doesn't perform bad. On my 3080 anyway. Most of the time I had 120 FPS, and then at times I would dip down to maybe 90. But if you want to go with the very specifics, I'm sure that at some points even dive down to 30 and then right back up to 90/120. In case that's something you're interested in knowing. So even if you have a high performance graphics card, on the game level, you will still get stutter to a certain extent. Whether you notice it or not is kind of, you know, famous Unreal Engine 4 stutter. Can't really not avoid it. It's part of the engine, so there's that. So I don't really blame the game developers for that. So talking about how the graphics look like, it actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look like they went too overboard with graphics. It looks like they went just enough to make it look good, but also not enough to make everything look extremely realistic and put unnecessary details everywhere. So I think they did a great job there. Of course, there were certain areas where they might have gone a little bit overboard, because I could certainly feel that certain areas made a little bit of a dip in my FPS constantly, and then other areas it was constantly 120. So there are certain areas and times in the game where it's like it just has a lot of stuff in that specific area, and then maybe the other area doesn't have a lot of that, and that could just be because they used higher quality textures there and not over there, and then maybe they thought they could balance it out later, but then said, nah, it's not needed, it's okay, and then, you know, stuff like that. It happens during game development, and I can understand that, of course, but it doesn't mean that the inconsistent performance is something I'm a fan of. So, you know, I would definitely prefer it if it wasn't as inconsistent at times than you know, in the beginning or before the open world. Because in the open world, it kind of became very inconsistent. And if we're gonna talk about things, we can also talk about bugs. Now, this game, I don't want to be too hard on it, but it has a couple bugs. Some bugs that are a little bit like, they're not game breaking. Like, they're not the bugs of game breaking, but they're really things that should not be a bug. As an example, the crosshair right now. I didn't do anything to get a crosshair on my screen, by the way. It's just there. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be gone. There are also certain things, like when I go into Nora, when I changed attachment, I also couldn't close the window with the attachment unless I went back and then back in again, even though it had a continue button. So there are a couple of bugs here, and there's also streaming mode that doesn't work. Now, that could suck for content creators, but for the average gamer who buys this, it's fine. It's just copyrighted music. It's not a big deal. I say, as maybe in the future they could take down videos with that, but honestly, I have other videos with copyrighted music, and it would be a sad world to record games if you have to worry about that all the time. So I don't mind. It's not like I earn a lot of money anyway off of my videos with ads and stuff. So, you know, at least you guys get to hear some good music, right? But I will still enable streamer mode when I can. It's just, I'm just gonna try to deal with it if there's no actual streamer mode or if it doesn't really work properly. So that's something to keep in mind for me anyway. And for anyone else who plans on recording the game, just keep that in mind. There will be copyrighted material in the game. Luckily enough, I don't know if there were nudity without the streamer mode on. If there was nudity, I'm happy I streamer mode on, even though it didn't really work with music anyway. so there's that, I suppose. But yeah, when it comes to bugs, there are quite a few, from climbing in the game to shooting. Like when I say shooting, I mean like sometimes it feels a bit off, right? I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes when you shoot, the gun's aim is off. You aim where you are, but sometimes the gun behaves weird, and it still shoots, but you're not aiming down sight properly, and the gun is just moving a little bit off sometimes. It's not a big deal. It's more, it could just be me that's a bit weird about that. I don't actually think it's a bug, but it felt a bit off to me. So, you know, it's just disregard that one unless it actually has some meaning for you if you've played the game before. But besides that, yeah, I haven't encountered too many bugs. Just sometimes I'm climbing, sometimes things act a little bit weird. I wish the ball that you can throw and you solve puzzles with was in the middle of the cursor instead of, to the left of it. But I'm guessing they wanted you to be able to shoot while using it, so they put it to the left of the cursor. But you could... I don't think I ever used it while also fighting. So, it's up to taste for the most part. I suppose. If you can line it up correctly, that is. But jumping really right back to characters really fast. The reason why I did only mentioned the main character, Sergey, or whatever his name is now, or whatever his Asian name was, Platinum or Plutonium. Plutonium was the one. Was because, and his club, of course. It's because none of the other characters really spoke to me. I think Petrov had his own little thing going on. Stockhausen, don't really care too much about him. He was more of a grunt than anything else. And if we're gonna talk about the lady, she kind of just ended abruptly. And Granny Nina was also a great character, and honest, if I have to be honest there. She was also a pretty good character. But Sechenov, I just have no interest in him. Like he was such a boring character. Like in the end, he chose to use the robots to fight instead of, I keep saying, I'm sorry about that. But he chose the robots to fight you instead of just talking to you. And, well, we were technically saying, no, we don't want to do this, and then just talk it out and stuff. But he was like, yeah, no, let's go ahead and do this instead. And then it escalated, of course, and then he fought, and then fighting that and fighting this, and then he took over, and then we shot him in the stomach, and then he got killed. He still had an evil plan in mind, though. So, I mean, do with that what you want, but that happened. So yeah, I mean, overall, what would I probably give it? I'm also going to talk a little bit more about gameplay and stuff like that. But overall, what would I give it? I would probably give it a... Well, this is a tough one. Like, I'm leaning between, like, I could give it a 6, 7, and 8. I don't know if I'm going to give it... I mean, I could go between and give it 7. I mean, it's so close to an 8, though. Just because of how it approaches things. It does it in a fresh way. But I think I might give it a 7. Just because it lacks a bit of refinement here and there. Like it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. It's worth the money, and it's enjoyable. And of course, it's very, very different. But it lacks refinement in certain areas, and a little bit of game design overhaul. As an example, it has that annoying UI that Ubisoft has, where you have like a circle and then you hover over things with it instead of just selecting it with your on a drop-down menu, or like a line on the left side of the thingy where you can just hover over things and then show the thing on the right. You know, I really dislike that because a lot of games do that too with RPG mechanics and stuff like that, but it was so much easier to just press equip with like a typical text dialogue line. You know how they have in old school RPGs and stuff, right? So just a drop-down menu, and then maybe not a drop-down menu, but like a menu like a drop-down menu, and then you just select the thing and then it shows a symbol whether or not it's equipped and stuff like that. Way simpler. It also didn't let me use the D-pad in the controller, which is the arrow keys essentially on the controller, on the left side of the controller. It didn't let me use that half the time for certain things. It also doesn't have a sprint button in the game. It also uses scanning on double-clicking the looting button, where it could easily have been remapped to another button. Walk backwards, you walk slow. Walk left, you walk slow. Right, you walk slow. You cannot walk fast when you go those directions. You can only walk fast when you go forwards. You can slow down when you walk forwards in the controller, of course. But those other sides, you cannot walk fast or walk normally. Like you pretty much slowly walk sideways and backwards. So when it comes to those things, it's not the best game in that regard. It is, however, okay, if nothing else, when it comes to controls. Also, another thing, I could not rebind the controls, that's why I'm complaining about them. If I could rebind them, I would not be mentioning this, because then I would just make it how I wanted it, but you can only rebind on mouse and keyboard, and if you can rebind a controller, I tried and I could not find it, so they should probably make it more obvious. But I do wish you could rebind things on a controller and actually make it better. And using reload and holding on reload as a weapon wheel is a bit weird. If anything, you should make holding down R1 into the weapon wheel. Or another thing they could do is, on just so you're aware, the arrow keys in the controller change weapon if you didn't actually have thingies, but I barely used that because, you know, weapon wheel. I mean, they both do the same thing. One is just a bit faster. If you had, it would be great if they could pick between the two, and then they could use either the weapon wheel by holding down arrow or something on the controller instead. And there's so many other ways we could have done the control scheme than use the reload buttons, who sometimes don't do it properly, and the scanning on the R1 button. And they also didn't have grenades in the game, which is a bit of a waste, at least not that I'm aware of. You can shoot, you can use the grenade launcher, of course, the rocket launcher, but it didn't actually have proper grenades you could throw, and they always act tactical, or act as like an extra tactical aspect to games, you know, like it adds an extra element to the combat, and the more elements in combat, the better, right? So there are certain things in gameplay / in controls that is just, and UI that is a bit off, but I also think this is the first game these guys have made, or maybe one of the first games, I'm not quite sure. It's made by a Russian game studio, as far as I'm aware. So and they did a pretty good job. I mean, 7 out of 10 for a game that, I mean, it's one of the first, I'd say, maybe. Pretty well done. It might not be the best game out there, but it does indeed get compared to BioShock, and BioShock is a fairly good 8/7 out of 10 game. I don't remember much from it. That's why I don't remember what I gave it as a rating and why and what exactly happens in the game. I might have to replay that one at some point. But I remember that there was a lighthouse. You went into the water. You fought again, and you were talking about with fun, you know, Fontaine, and then you you know, you went into deep, and then you were mind controlled and stuff like that. If you haven't watched the game, it came out a long time ago. Okay, you should know at this point. Otherwise, I would highly recommend BioShock. And this one does nod to BioShock. Although, I would not compare this game to BioShock in the second half of the game, because it's nothing like BioShock there. But in the first half, it is very much like BioShock. Plunged into a cool sci-fi, futuristic, but also kind of old school setting with with a science twist on it and a new like ideology type twist on it. Like it's very Bioshock in that regard. But as soon as you get to the open world, it feels more like Far Cry or any of those open world games. As soon as it stops that, it doesn't go completely Far Cry. And now there's no music. Why is there no music? Oh well. Hope you love my voice. But yeah. So Far Cry is fine. I don't know. I don't know if I like the open world aspect. Not my biggest thing, but I do think they did it okay. So yeah, I've said that before in this thingy, but why not say it again? They deserve a better praise. It is not a bad game, and if they can make a sequel and refine everything they have done in the game, that is gonna be very well done by them. That's very good of them if they do that. So yeah, I hope they refine the game a bit more to make a second one. And of course, I hope they still refine this game if ever they can take time to update the game and fix some of the bugs. Because it does need a bit more refinement. Not performance wise, but more like there are a few bugs here and there that could easily be like squished. As an example, this crosshair bug, all they have to do is just turn it off after a certain thing happens. Like after maybe they can say crosshair off. By the way, and in case you don't know, I semi know how to code, so it is as simple as saying whatever they called this crosshair in the top part of the code. Say set crosshair to off or on or false whenever the credits start showing, or whenever the ending cutscene starts showing. It depends on exactly how they set the scenes up, but they could easily do that, and it's weird what this bug happens. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, the bugs are usually a bit off. Same thing with the UI. They could probably have done a little bit more research, and the controls, maybe done a little bit more research there to try to see what the mainstream games use as controls. For the most part, they did right. The shooting is the same as mainstream, and the reload is, and dodging is. But I don't think they have experience with controllers as much, and it seems like a game made for mouse and keyboard and PC. Again, I don't want to be too hard about that. Annihilation Instinct, I don't have that. I mean, I have that right now, but I haven't played it yet. I'm planning on doing that after I've done with this Let's Play, just to see what that's all about. And now the name Annihilation Instinct makes more sense based on what happened with Charles or Charles. Scientific advisors? Oh, okay, so they talk to, okay, I see. I mean, yes, that is cool that they spoke to actual psychologists, scientists, and stuff like that. That's cool. And copyright, of course, Unreal Engine, NVIDIA, and Denuvo. There's Denuvo anti-cheat in this. Freaking Denuvo. A little message to all game developers in case you're watching this. Not that you are. Stop putting Denuvo in things. It's gonna get pirated anyway. And it's not a multiplayer game, so just stop it. Don't do it. It's stupid. And you're hurting your player base and your reputation by doing so. Most people would buy your game anyway. Pirating games is hard work. At least that I know of. It is also still stupid to put anti-cheat in your game if it's single player. And pirating is just stupid. Like, don't do it. Because you can probably fork out the money anyway, you know? It's just silly. Said how gaming has gone to anti-cheat and stuff like that. It's very sad. But overall, I'd say gaming has improved. It's just that with the improvements have also come very annoying side effects. But it's not about this game. Let's just continue to talk about this game. But I don't like if there is a new entity in this. It's silly. Makes no sense. And why is this loading taking so long? So yeah, I'm gonna give this game a 7 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna give it, because I don't feel like it is refined enough to be an 8 out of 10, and I don't feel like it does too little to be a 6 out of 10. It's also not the longest game in the world, but that's fine. I spent, I don't even know how many hours in it, maybe 12? 16? 12? 12 hours? Somewhere around there on this game, and I would say that it was enjoyable for the most part. The puzzles, I mean, you should probably just skip the testing facilities in all honesty. I think you would have a bit more fun, but then you also get rid of around how many are there? 8 facilities. That's 4 hours of gameplay you kind of say no to. So that's a lot of gameplay you kind of just diss and say, nah, don't want to do that too. And that's gonna hurt if you are not careful. When it comes to like gameplay and stuff like that. They're interesting, but the puzzles, they're like overused. So yeah, and in case you think I'm sounding tired, I am pretty tired. It's very late for me. I kind of needed to finish this game off today, tonight. Yes, it is night for me. Yeah, I mean, default button? Do I need to press something? Is this default button right here? Why does this say default button? What is this? I think it's broken. I don't actually think it worked. They never expected anyone to sit through the credits, so I'm just stuck here. That's fun. So you can look at the beautiful background. I don't know if there's gonna be a last cutscene or something. But I don't. If there is, maybe we can watch another list. I don't want to get out of this. I have to restart the game. Oh well. I don't know. But I did enjoy it, and I will gladly give it a 7 out of 10. Again, doesn't feel like it really is refined enough to be an 8 out of 10, and it doesn't feel like it's bad enough to be a 6 out of 10. So it's pretty industry standard, I'd say. And when I say industry standard, it's a compliment. All right. Industry standard means that you can enjoy yourself and spend hours and hours into the game without feeling like it's a waste of time. And that is indeed what I feel like this game was. So what I will do now is I will pause this recording. I will see if there is anything else. And then I will say my goodbyes if there is and if there isn't. So be right back. Okay, so I want to do the twin battle again. And I'm not doing that one more time. Not right now anyway. So yeah. I'll just assume there's nothing after the credits. The DLC is the next thing I'm going to play. So hopefully this show exactly what happens after this in the DLC. Or maybe the DLC takes place before this. No clue. All I know is that it can be fun to see what the DLC has to bring. Whether or not it is a more refined version of like a smaller thing. Or if it is an expansion onto the story. I have no clue. What I do know is, once again, I enjoyed this game. Would recommend it in case you're looking for a fun shoot game. Yes. And hope to see you all in another one of my Let's Plays. I play through all kinds of games. If none of the games on my channel are to your liking, leave a comment in the section telling me what game you would like me to play. And see, of course. You can also leave me what your favorite moments in the series was. Whether it was me screaming, dying, or hating on the game, let me know. Let me know your favorite moment in the game. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in another one of my Let's Plays. And consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, of course. So I can have more people watch and enjoy my content, which I always am welcome to. I always read your comments as well, so feel free to leave a comment. I prefer non-bad ones, but if you have some feedback to give, then feel free to, I suppose. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope to see you in another one of my Let's Plays. And as always, stay awesome.